My husband came home panicked, saying he lost his wedding ring. The next day, I found it, on our housekeeper's necklace. When I confronted her, she smiled. He said you didn't deserve it. That night, I set a trap, pretending to leave town. When I returned, I found them together in our bed. As they left, I whispered, "Enjoy it while you can." The next morning, they woke up to something that made them both scream. I've been lurking here for a long time, but now I finally have something to share. I'm a 45-year-old woman from Charleston, South Carolina. I've been married to my husband, Mark, for 22 years. We have 2 grown kids who are both in college, so it's just the 2 of us at home now, well, and our housekeeper, Sophia, who came in twice a week. I thought I had a good life. Not perfect, but good. Until 2 months ago. That's when my whole world flipped. Let me tell you what happened. One Thursday afternoon, Mark came home from work acting weird. He walked in, didn't kiss me like usual, and went straight to the bedroom. I followed him because something felt off. His energy was all wrong. That's when he told me. I lost my wedding ring, he said, almost like he was reading it off a card. I stared at him. What do you mean you lost it? I think I left it at the gym. I took it off to lift weights and I don't know, it must have fallen or something. Now, Mark is not the type to take off his wedding ring. Ever. In 22 years, I've seen him remove it maybe twice, once for a medical procedure and once when he got his hand caught while doing yard work. So this explanation didn't sit right with me. We looked for it. I helped him tear the house apart. We checked the car, his gym bag, laundry, under the bed, nothing. He looked frustrated, but I noticed he never really seemed worried. Just kind of tense. I told him we could get a new one. He just nodded and went quiet for the rest of the night. Fridays are usually when Sophia comes to clean. She's 29, soft-spoken, from Mexico. She's been working for us for about a year. Never gave me any reason not to trust her. That morning, she was dusting the bookshelf when I noticed something shiny around her neck. A gold chain. Nothing unusual. But what was hanging from it nearly made me drop the glass in my hand. It was a ring. Not just any ring, Mark's wedding ring. Same band. Same engraving. I knew it immediately. I tried to keep my face straight and asked her casually, "That's a beautiful necklace. Where did you get it?" She looked me in the eye and smiled. Not sweet. Not embarrassed. Smug. "Mark gave it to me. He said you didn't deserve it." I froze. She went back to dusting like she hadn't just lit my life on fire. I didn't say anything else. I walked upstairs and sat on the edge of the bed, heart racing. My hands were shaking. I didn't cry. Not yet. I was too stunned. I didn't confront Mark that night. I didn't yell or throw anything. I acted normal. Said I was going to Atlanta to visit my sister for the weekend. He asked when I'd be back and said, "Drive safe," with a straight face. The next evening, I packed a bag, kissed him goodbye, and drove out of the neighborhood. I didn't go to Atlanta. Instead, I circled back and parked my car 2 blocks away. I got a lift to a nearby hotel and waited. I needed to be sure. At around 11 p.m., I walked back to the house. I used the back door and came in quietly. No lights were on downstairs. But I could hear soft music coming from upstairs. I tiptoed up and opened our bedroom door. There they were. Mark and Sophia. In our bed. Laughing. I don't know why the laughing is what broke me. Not the betrayal. Not the lies. Not seeing them together in the space where we built a life. The laughing. They didn't see me right away. I stood in the doorway, just staring. When Mark finally noticed me, he froze. Sophia turned her head and smiled. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just whispered, "Enjoy it while you can." Then I turned around and walked out. I came back early. Around 6:30 a.m. They were still asleep. I made coffee. I made breakfast. I set the table like nothing had happened. Then I walked upstairs and knocked on the bedroom door. Mark opened it, eyes wide. "Breakfast is ready," I said, like I hadn't just caught him with another woman 10 hours earlier. We sat at the table. I sipped my coffee. Sophia looked uncomfortable. Mark didn't touch his food. Finally, I spoke. "I've already contacted a lawyer. Papers will be ready soon." Mark opened his mouth to say something, but I raised a hand. "Don't. I don't need excuses. Just know, this was your decision. And hers." Sophia started crying. Mark looked like a deer in headlights. "Pack your things," I said. "Both of you. You're not staying here." If you haven't read the first post, here's the short version. My husband Mark claimed he lost his wedding ring. I later found it around our housekeeper Sophia's neck. When I asked about it, she smiled and said, "He said you didn't deserve it." I pretended to leave town, snuck back, and caught them in our bed. I told them to enjoy it while they could. The next morning, I calmly made breakfast, served it like nothing happened, and then told them both to get out. That's where I left off. After I told them to pack their things, I expected them to move quickly. I mean, what kind of person wants to stick around after getting caught like that? But Mark just sat there. Sophia was sniffling into a napkin, but not moving either. Then Mark looked up at me and said, "Can we talk, alone?" I laughed. I actually laughed out loud. "You want to talk now?" He nodded like he deserved sympathy. "I made a mistake," he said. I was confused. Lonely. We weren't connecting, I stopped him. "You gave her your wedding ring. That's not confusion. That's a choice." He didn't say anything after that. Sophia got up and went upstairs to grab her things. Or so I thought. I was in the kitchen, trying to keep myself from screaming, when I heard something shatter upstairs. I ran up, and there she was, in my closet. She was going through my things. Tossing my clothes on the floor, tearing open drawers. "What the hell are you doing?" I shouted. She turned to me, holding my favorite silk blouse in one hand. The same blouse I wore on our 15th anniversary. "This life should have been mine," she said quietly. "He told me he was going to leave you." I saw red. "Get out of my house," I said, shaking. She looked at me like I was the problem. "He doesn't love you. He told me. He said you were cold. Controlling. And then, this part still messes with me," she smiled and said, "You can't stop what's already happening." I reached for my phone and told her if she wasn't gone in 10 minutes, I'd call the cops. She finally stormed out, dragging her suitcase behind her. Mark left about an hour later, after some more weak apologies and silence. I thought maybe that would be the end of it. I was wrong. 2 days later, I started getting calls from his family. His sister. His mom. Even his cousin in Florida. All of them saying I was overreacting. That I should forgive him because men make mistakes. Apparently, Mark told them I'd misunderstood the situation and was blowing things out of proportion. He said I was being vindictive by filing for divorce so quickly. Then came the cherry on top, he wanted half the house. You read that right. The man who cheated in our bed with our housekeeper, and gave her his wedding ring, wanted to fight me for half of the house. I told my lawyer everything. We dug into everything, bank accounts, phone records, texts, emails. I was ready to burn it all down. While going through our shared iCloud account, I found something. A photo album, hidden in a random folder. Labeled miscellaneous. Inside were over 50 photos and videos. Not just of him and Sophia, multiple women. Sophia wasn't the first. There were timestamps going back 5 years. Different hotel rooms. different cities. Some of the pictures were taken during times when I thought he was at work trips, or visiting his parents. I felt sick. Not only had he betrayed me with Sophia, he'd been doing this for years. All while acting like the perfect father. The good husband. I sent the folder to myself. I made backup copies. USBs. Cloud storage. And then I did what he probably didn't expect, I reached out to Sophia. I sent her a text that said, "He lied to you too. Want to see who else he was sleeping with while he promised you the world?" It took her 2 hours to reply. She said yes. We met at a coffee shop. She looked rough, puffy eyes, no makeup, hair unwashed. I didn't feel sorry for her, but I wasn't there for revenge. I showed her the photos. Watched her expression go from confusion to rage. She whispered, "He said I was the only one, welcome to my world." Sophia didn't take it well. She sent some of those pictures to Mark's boss. Mark worked in a pretty conservative office. Married man. Reputation mattered. Sophia didn't just send them, she CC'd HR, a few coworkers, and the department head. You can imagine how that went down. I didn't ask her to do that. But I didn't stop her either. By the end of that week, Mark was suspended pending review. His lawyer called mine to try and mediate. They wanted everything to go away quietly. But I wasn't finished. Not yet. If you followed the last 2 posts, you know my, now ex-husband Mark cheated on me with our housekeeper Sophia. I found out when he claimed he lost his wedding ring, and I later saw it hanging from Sophia's necklace. She smiled and told me, "He said you didn't deserve it." I pretended to leave town, came back and caught them laughing in our bed. I calmly made breakfast the next morning and served it like nothing had happened. Then I kicked them both out. Since then, I found out Mark had been cheating for years, not just with Sophia, but with multiple women. I discovered it through a secret photo album on our shared iCloud account. I showed Sophia the pictures, and she blew it up, sending the photos to his work and HR. But guess what? That wasn't the only secret he was hiding. We had a joint savings account and a retirement fund. Mark handled most of our finances, not because I couldn't, but because it worked out that way. I never suspected anything shady, he always paid the bills, we were never late on anything. But when my lawyer started digging, some numbers weren't adding up. There were regular transfers, small ones, every 2 weeks to an account I didn't recognize. It looked like nothing big at first. $400 here. $300 there. But over 6 years, that added up to over $42,000. I confronted him through our lawyers. His answer? He said it was a savings account for emergencies. That was a lie. The account wasn't just a savings account, it was under his cousin's name. A cousin who, it turns out, had no idea the account even existed. When we pulled the thread a little more, we found out something sickening. Mark had been funneling money not just to this hidden account, but also sending cash payments using payment apps, Venmo, Zelle, to names I didn't recognize. One of them? A woman in Dallas. Another in Tampa. Another in Charlotte. All women I'd never heard of. After the whole HR incident, Sophia reached out again. She wanted to talk. I didn't owe her anything, but I was curious. She admitted that Mark had promised her the world. Said he'd get a divorce, marry her, and they'd buy a house in Savannah together. He even showed her listings. She believed him. But then she said something that made my blood run cold. He said you had a drinking problem. That you were abusive. That he was scared of you. Let that sink in. He had told her I was abusive. That he was afraid to leave me because I was unpredictable. This man. This liar. This cheater. He wasn't just betraying me, he was smearing me. Lying to make himself the victim. So he could go on playing out his double life without guilt. 1 week later, I got a letter in the mail. A late payment notice for a storage unit in his name. We don't have a storage unit. At least, not one I knew about. I went there. I still had access to his digital records and was able to reset the password through email. I paid the balance and opened it up. Inside? Clothes that weren't mine, photos of him with other women, posing in front of beach houses, ski trips, hotel beds, luggage tags from places we'd never gone together, a small safe with 2 burner phones, receipts for hotel stays, sometimes 2, 3 weekends a month. There were even birthday cards. One was to someone named Jenny, and it read, "To my sunshine. Can't wait to spend forever with you. M." Who the hell was Jenny? I took pictures of everything. Every single item. I didn't touch the rest. Just documented it. My lawyer said it was more than enough to bury him legally. Late one night, I got a call from a blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. The next morning, I listened. A woman's voice. "Hi, I don't know if this is the right number. My name's Jenny. I just found out Mark is married. Or, was married. He told me he was divorced for 3 years. We've been engaged for 6 months. I'm so sorry if this is real." Yeah. That's who Jenny was. I called her back. We talked for 2 hours. She had no idea about me, or the other women. She thought they were just friends from before. He had told her he was living alone, working overtime to save up for their wedding. He had told her he was looking at houses in Asheville. Jenny showed me texts, emails, videos. I showed her mine. And Sophia's. And the photos. She was devastated. She said she was going to handle it. 2 days later, Mark showed up at my door. He looked destroyed. Like he hadn't slept. Hair a mess. Same clothes 2 days in a row. "You talked to Jenny, didn't you?" he said. I didn't answer. I just stared at him. He put his head in his hands. "I lost everything. She blocked me. HR suspended me. Mom's not speaking to me. Everyone thinks I'm a monster." I didn't say anything. Just stood there. He looked up. "I just wanted to feel loved again." That's when I said, calmly, "Then maybe you shouldn't have spent so many years lying to every woman you met." And I closed the door. It's not over yet. We haven't even gone to court. The financial side of this is messy. The emotional side? Even worse. But this isn't about revenge anymore. It's about truth. About getting every piece of this twisted mess out into the light. Want to know what Jenny did next? Or what I found when I checked our old laptop? This will be the last update. I've shared everything up to the unraveling. Mark's lies, the other women, the burner phones, Sophia, and Jenny, his fiancée who had no idea he was married. I left off with him standing on my doorstep, wrecked, telling me he lost everything. I didn't pity him. I just closed the door. But life wasn't done throwing punches. What happened next? Well, it was the end of everything. 3 days after Mark showed up at my house, I got a text from Jenny. "I want to confront him. I want you there. He won't lie if we both show up." I didn't reply right away. I didn't know what she had in mind. But later that evening, she texted again, "He's at that restaurant downtown, the one you said he liked. 8 p.m. Come if you want the truth in the open." So I went. It was a dim-lit Italian place in downtown Charleston. A cozy spot where Mark and I used to go for anniversaries. Seeing him there now, across the room from a woman who thought he was her future, it made my skin crawl. Jenny stood up when she saw me. Her face was pale, but determined. Mark's smile faded the second he saw me. "What is this?" he muttered. Jenny didn't sit. She pulled out her phone and set it on the table. "Start talking," she said to him. "Now." Mark tried to charm his way out. "This is crazy." "I don't know what you think this is," I cut him off. "We've seen everything. The storage unit. The photos. The bank transfers. The burner phones. The fake names. All of it. Jenny's hands were shaking. You told me you loved me. That you were divorced. You looked me in the eye and said we were buying a house together. Mark's face turned red. He stood up fast, knocking his chair back. All right, he snapped. You want the truth? Fine. The restaurant went silent. People turned. A waiter froze mid-step. I did love both of you, he said, voice cracking. I was miserable. I didn't know who I was anymore. With her, he pointed at me, I felt invisible. With you, he turned to Jenny, I felt seen. I stood too. My voice low. You weren't invisible, Mark. You were lying. Lying to everyone around you. That's why you're alone now. Jenny nodded. I would have forgiven you if it had just been her. But 5 years? Multiple women? You didn't just make a mistake. You built a second life. Mark looked around at the people staring. Can we please not do this here? Jenny laughed, bitter. Why not? You didn't mind screwing up everywhere else. That was it. Mark slumped back down. His face crumbled. He put his head in his hands right there in the booth, in front of the world. I didn't want this, he muttered. I just wanted to feel something again. There it was, the truth. Not a grand excuse. Not a noble reason. Just pathetic, selfish emptiness. And in that moment, I felt something strange. Not anger. Not sorrow. Just, done. Jenny looked at me. Let's go. We walked out, leaving Mark surrounded by strangers, no one saying a word to him. The next few days were quiet. Too quiet. Mark tried calling. Once. I blocked him. His sister messaged me, apologizing for how she defended him before. I didn't know, she wrote. I'm sorry. We're all disgusted. Even Sophia reached out one last time. I just wanted to say. I'm so sorry. I didn't believe you when I should have. I hope you find peace. And weirdly, I didn't hate her anymore. We were both fooled. Hurt in different ways, but hurt all the same. A month later, I sat in a cold courtroom with my lawyer. Mark looked tired. Thinner. Beaten. He didn't contest anything. Not the house. Not the money. Not the custody of our family dog, who, by the way, ran away from him the day he left. The judge finalized it in 10 minutes. 22 years, wrapped up in a packet of signatures and silence. I walked out feeling like I'd been exhaling for the first time in a year. Sometimes people ask me, how didn't you know? The truth is, I did know. Not all the details. Not the scale. But I felt it in my gut. Every cold night, every weird look, every half-hearted kiss. I chose to believe in the man I married instead of the man he became. But not anymore. Now? I believe in me. I've joined a hiking group. Reconnected with old friends. Taken a solo trip to Maine just because I could. Do I feel broken? Sometimes. But I also feel free. Would I trust again? I don't know. But I've learned this, you can love someone and still walk away. You can forgive someone and still never let them back in. Mark wanted to feel something. I want to feel everything. Even the pain. Because pain, unlike betrayal, means you're still human. I don't know what the future holds. But it's mine now. And that's more than enough.